This episode of Rookie Hunter is brought to you by the Wild Sheep Foundation. Adventures in sheep country can change your life, and as residents of BC, we're very fortunate to have 3 different species of sheep in our province. After attending the Wild Sheep Foundation's annual convention, Sheep Show, in Reno, Nevada, we got to see what conservation looks like firsthand. The Wild Sheep Foundation's ability to raise and put millions of dollars on the ground each year to keep these majestic animals on the mountaintops worldwide is unmatched. The Wild Sheep family is a diverse group of people from all walks of life, and membership is open to anyone. Whether you're a seasoned pro, it's your first time on the mountain, or you just like to see sheep on the hillside, you can sign up and join today. Kelly and I are lifetime members, but you can become an annual member for just $45. You can also become a member of the Less Than One Club, which is the only club you want to get kicked out of. If you've never taken a North American or international ram, you can join us in the Less Than One Club for an extra $25. Plus, Less Than One Club membership also includes entry into a draw for 3 separate Dall sheep hunts, which will be given away at Sheep Show in 2019. For more information on the Wild Sheep Foundation and to become a member, head over to wildsheepfoundation.org. Hey, welcome to episode 72 of Rookie Hunter. Today on the show, Kelly and I are back in the studio. I got out for opening day, so I'll share some details about what I learned from that trip. We've also got a moose hunting ban that's been proposed by First Nations in British Columbia, and it could have an impact on our plans for October, so we'll share some of the details about what's going on there. We also got a hunt planned for next week. We're going to do an overnighter, spend a few days out in the bush. And we also got out last week and sighted in our rifles. Some lessons learned there too. If you want to see what we're rocking this year for our hunting kits, we've updated all of our stuff. Just click on the gear tab on our website. It should all be updated by the time this episode goes live. You can also find all of our contact information from the website. It is theRookieHunter.com. Also, please support our sponsors. Become a member of the Wild Sheep Foundation today and pick yourself up a nice knife from North Arm Knives. We are officially running our free knife competition. You can head over to our Instagram page to find details about how to be entered into the draw to win a beautiful knife from North Arm Knives. It's a custom knife with the engraving of our logo right in the blade. So go check that out and put your name in the hat for that one. So sit back, relax, find yourself a non-alcoholic beverage if you're joining us for Sober September, and enjoy episode 72. It's opening day. It's bright and early, super dark. I want to make sure I hit the trail nice and early because we all know what opening day is like. Oftentimes there's a big rush of people doing the same thing with the same ideas, but no vehicles at the trailhead that I'm at. Decided to try something different today, and more of a scouting opportunity, I guess. I don't really have any expectations for the day, but I headed up Service Road, and man, there was deer all over the place. I couldn't even tell you how many. No bucks, of course, but plenty of does and a ton of fawns, which is nice to see. So I set my alarm for nice and early, headed down to the garage and made some coffee and got myself ready. Put some ice in the Yeti just in case, threw that in the car, and threw some Sturgill Simpson on and hit the road. So pretty excited to be on the trail. I'm going to see how many miles I can put on them on the trail already, as you can hear. So check back in with you and hopefully come back with an update. There you have it. First day I didn't record anything else that day. So the forecast for...
So you said there was going to be an update?
There was no update. I'll tell you why. The forecast, it was supposed to rain all night, and it did. It poured. It was actually pretty nice when I got up. It was sort of just like spitting rain a little bit as I was driving to the trailhead, and it looked like it was starting to clear up, which it was supposed to do. So I got in like kilometer and a half on the trail, and it was actually kind of cool for a little bit. It was almost like a light mist that was coming down, and there was all these birds and stuff just going crazy. It almost like it reminded me, I spent quite a bit of time in Hawaii on the Big Island, and it felt like that because it was kind of humid, misty, all of these like exotic sounding birds going crazy. And I didn't have to put rain gear or anything on at that point. It was just like light enough mist. I had a hoodie on, and all of a sudden it just started to pour. So I hunkered down underneath of a tree with a little bit because I had Oscar too. And then it eased off a little bit. So we continued on, and then kept hiking for another probably 3 kilometers. All of a sudden the wind and the rain just came pounding. And I don't know if it was like that in town here, but it was pretty intense.
I don't think it was quite as bad. I don't think it was quite that bad here.
It was crazy out there, which there was pros and cons. So here's the beauty of going out for the first time of the year is you get to test your pack basically and decide if you forgot anything or if you brought too much, and which was kind of what I was expecting from this trip out. One of the main things I forgot, Kelly, was my scope cover.
That's important.
Not good when it's raining.
No.
Jacket for the dog, which doesn't sound like much because it's just him. But if the dog's cold and he's not having a good time, that means he's going to want to peace out early. So that's got potential to shorten my hunt.
Yeah, and it's just a pain in the ass because he's going to be pulling on the leash and whatnot, sitting down. And
so I came up with a solution for that. He was wearing he's got a backpack that he wears. So I put all of his food and water and bowl and everything in his pack. Mm-hmm. And what I did was I grabbed the rain cover for my backpack, stuffed that underneath underneath his pack. So it was on top of him. And then it's like it's got like an elastic in it, right? So I tuck that around. He's got a short little Weimaraner tail, and it kind of just hooked underneath of there.
Nice.
And put it all the way up to his neck and kind of covered his body with it. Actually kept him super dry. It's the best I could do while we were out there. But then I ended up with a wet backpack. So for one day out, doesn't really matter, but not a situation you'd want to be in for multi-day.
Like right through the pack? Like stuff inside was getting wet?
Not quite, but any longer, it would have been bad for sure. And then, of course, you got to let it dry out when you get home and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a pain in the ass that could have been avoided. Yeah,
I've kind of learned to keep my rain gear and my pack cover and all that stuff in the top lid. Yeah. Because that's stuff you need to get out quick, right?
Yeah, which is where I had it. And so we're trying out some new gear. You and I ordered pretty much a full-on hunting kit from Sitka. I had rain gear with me, cloudburst, jacket, pant, and I left it off for too long. So what I was wearing underneath started to get damp. I had merino on. Mm-hmm. Again, stupid. It starts to rain, just put that stuff on. But I was hot from hiking, so like, I don't want to put my rain gear on. You know, we've been here before, and I was telling myself, like, just put it on, man.
That's what I was thinking, because I remember getting up, and you would have been already out by then, but there was like a constant drizzle that was happening all morning.
Yeah.
So when you said, I haven't put my rain gear on yet, I was figuring like, okay, you're in the mode where you're exercising, you're probably not feeling those little drizzles, and you've already got a couple layers on as it is, right? But I can see how now you're kind of wet. Yeah. It happens. It seems like it happens quickly, but I think it's kind of a longer term.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another thing I was going to mention. I should have brought my gaiters. Last year, I always had those in my pack.
Yeah. Decided
not to bring them. Like, I'm not going to need them. After the first kilometer of the trail, thick, wet grass.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, and it's a little more, it's not quite fall yet, so the vegetation is still pretty thick, right?
Yeah. So the bottom of my pants got wet, but the Timberline pant, I think it didn't soak through, so it was fine, not a big deal. But anyways, I ended up putting the rain gear on once that like serious downpour and wind came in, and it's Gore-Tex, so it was perfect, man. Like no complaints there for first trial of that stuff.
Yeah,
saved my ass. Which obviously doesn't matter what kind of rain gear you bring along with you. You got to bring that stuff, man, because by that point I was way back in there. Had I gotten soaked, it wouldn't have been fun.
Did you have a chance to, review the breathability of that at all, or did you just have it on for a short amount of time?
Here's the thing, man. It's like with rain gear. That's the way I look at it, right? I've tried various kinds. Breathability is always going to be kind of difficult.
Not optimal.
It's not going to be great, right? But the point is it's going to keep you dry, and it kept me dry. It's got the zips underneath the armpit.
Right.
Those were actually really easy to get to. I found with the First Light jacket, I always had a real hard time reaching underneath to pull those up. These were in a good spot where I could easily reach them with my pack on. I didn't have to take anything off and just pull those up. No problem. So as soon as you get those open, you get some air moving through. So that makes a huge difference. I see people reviewing rain gear all the time. Doesn't matter what brand it is, and saying that it's loud. Again, it's rain gear.
Yeah, it's not really meant to be worn all the time in all hunting situations. I don't think. And if you do want something like that, maybe it exists, but it's kind of going to be specialized for that.
Yeah, I'm yet to hear of anything that exists that doesn't have a bit of noise to it, right?
Yeah.
So easy to put on because you got the full zip from bottom to top.
On the pants,
Yep. So I got those pants on and out of my pack and on in under a minute probably, man. It's quick.
Nice. I like the big pockets on the thigh.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a couple pockets there.
Yeah.
The thing that I like about it is the pattern.
Yeah.
And I know, we both talked about camo, and we seem to kind of be swinging that solids direction. When you see I don't even know what the pattern's called. Not open country, but the green version. When you're in these vegetated terrain type situations, it's amazing how that stuff just blends right in.
Yeah, it's subalpine.
Subalpine, yeah. And I think that really suits our area. It's not optimal for the sheep hunting situation, but I don't know. I kind of feel like if the sheep aren't seen in color, then
Really
the pattern's still the same as open country, and I think it translates well there too. But we're spending like 95% of our time hunting deer and elk and bear in vegetated terrain, and we're spending a very small time hunting sheep. So I think it's good to go what you're hunting all the time. Buy for that.
When I took the rain gear off, I just threw the pants on the trail, and I took a photo of it and sent it to you. And the color match is like bang on. You almost can't even see the pants laying.
Yeah, we should post that.
Yeah,
it was pretty surprising.
So yeah, perfect for this kind of terrain. And you mentioning sheep, it's like there's never going to be a system that works for every single scenario that you're going to be in, but this is going to work for the majority of stuff that we're going to do. So yeah. So all that stuff was good, man. And the beauty of being out, like I said, is just getting to try out your kit and then remembering all the stuff that was constantly in your pack before you emptied it out by the end of last season, you know what I mean? And switch it up to sort of summer hunting and the gators and stuff like that are the things you tend to leave behind in the summer, but I regretted that for sure. So the other thing I mentioned in that beginning clip there was that I filled up the Yeti 65 with 2 bags of cubed ice just from my fridge, and then 2 freezer packs, and left them in there all day. It was actually pretty hot when I came out of the bush. The sun was out and stuff like that, and the car was roasting. When I got home and took the ice out, it was like it just came out of the freezer. It's crazy.
You put it back in the ice trays?
I just put it back into the freezer downstairs. So each time I go out, I'm just going to throw that same couple of bags of ice in the Yeti. And you know how when you first pull ice out of a freezer, it's kind of like tacky, like it'll stick to your finger a little bit? It was still like that.
Yeah, man, like 1 day is no match for that.
No, it's crazy.
Once you get, I think the real test will be like once we get past 5 days, then, because that's what most of those other coolers are built for, like your Coleman's and Coleman Extremes and all that. So it'll be cool to see when we're on trips, like the moose trip, put some ice in there, put a bunch of food in.
We'll have 2 of them up there with the 210. We're hoping to fill that up with moose meat.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have to probably try blocks in there just to kind of get the most out of it.
I'm planning on putting a whole bunch of beer in it.
Yeah, me too.
Because we'll finally be able to have a beer again by then. And I think that thing holds like 100 and I think it's 200 beer.
Something like
200
that.
beer cans.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's basically a keg. It's more than a keg, I think.
Yeah, enough to keep us going for a while. So that's kind of it, man. I saw quite a few, lots of does, lots of fawns on the actual trail too. And I saw one small 2-point buck, not in season anyways. So saw lots of elk sign too. So accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish on that trip. I was actually the only one in that area. When I came back, there was still no cars there. So I had the whole place to myself, which was pretty cool.
Cool.
Let's talk about moose, Kelly. Lots of guys are asking us what's going on up here in BC and if we're going to be impacted. So I guess the short answer is yes and no. So there's a couple of things going on. There's two separate things going on, I guess. And there's one thing which you're going to let us in on, which basically started the whole thing off.
Yeah. So, in the Chilcotin region in BC here, the government announced closures on a lot of limited entry moose hunts. They're more region based. And for those in BC, it's around the Region 5 area. So the purpose of that was, based around a long-term population decline, wildfire impacts in those regions. I believe it's a lot of plateau-based, areas, and lots of concern from the First Nations. So government took action to, lock things down. I think it was October 1st to the 14th.
Yep.
They shut down all hunting for moose, including the limited entry.
Yep.
So, I think it's ultimately a good thing when multiple stakeholders are involved and the government ministries involved, and they're all using science. Yeah. And they're addressing a concern where it exists and where it's proven to exist.
Yeah.
I think that's the key there, is just making sure that everyone's looking at the same data and the data is accurate. So from there, we've the story's evolved a little bit, and it's moved out of that region. There are some other stakeholders involved, further north, central BC, kind of where we're heading for the moose hunt. There are some First Nation groups up there that are also concerned about moose populations as well. I think one of the differences in that particular situation, though, is that the ministry has come out and said the science shows that, in that area, although moose populations have their challenges, wildfire is ultimately not an automatic cause for concern. And in some cases, the long-term benefits outweigh the short-term movement of the animals.
Yeah. I've got some quotes and stuff here if you want to read them, or I can read them.
Sure.
So, what you're touching on there, Kelly. So it's 2 BC Interior First Nation bands have teamed up in an effort to save the moose population. That's what they're claiming. So this is a quote from the 2 First Nation bands. I'm not going to try and say the name of the bands because it's not my vocabulary. But so they said this collaboration comes in response to the dire state of declining moose populations in our territories and the lack of effective action by the province of British Columbia. So what these guys wanted was total stop to limited entry hunting for non-native hunters, and the closure of LEH and all that. This would affect us had it been approved by the government. It's right in the area that we're headed to. So they went on to say, despite the unprecedented 2017 wildfires, which have made struggling moose populations in the region even more vulnerable to hunters and predation, the BC government continues to issue limited entry permits for moose in our territories, contravening recommendations on wildlife management and without the consent of our nations. As a result of the wildfires, thousands of access routes for hunters and predators have been created, while high-value habitat for moose has been drastically reduced. So obviously non-native hunters, BC residents is another way to look at it, are upset because they say, well, there's no science to back this up, number one. And if hunt should be shut down, then it should be shut down for everyone.
Well, the one thing that the government or the ministry, I should say, did acknowledge was that, they appreciate that a lot of First Nations are living off of these animals, which I think there's allocation based on that. And then they look at, then how many tags are we going to hand out? So I think, as long as they're managing that.
Let's put it this way. I respect their right to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to argue with that.
And they have, requirements that have been established already. And I think as long as it's like the Wild Sheep Foundation, the one campfire, if we can all just sit around that campfire and talk about it, and then, everybody works as a team, and the ministry is going to have to enforce these closures. To have certain stakeholders go out and just make their own closures is not going to work for anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand the approach there. I understand, like when we talk about the Chilcotin area and the ministry shutting it down due to not only First Nation concerns, but some other factors, and it all kind of came together and the science backs it, and then they move forward with it. And like, people aren't complaining about that. It is what it is. And we all want the same result, and we all want to protect moose. But then, this other situation, it's people taking it into their own hands, and the ministry's, not really backing it, partly because the science isn't backing it.
BC Wildlife Federation put out a statement. I'll just read the first paragraph of it. So, during the last few weeks, several First Nations have called on the government to ban hunting in their territories under the guise of fires impacting wildlife. The provincial government has responded in the case of the Chilcotin Nation call for a ban by noting that the science indicates no measurable impact on wildlife, moose, due to the 2017 fires. The BC Wildlife Federation applauds the government for sticking to science in its response to the Chilcotin demand. So basically, I think that just, mirrors what we just said, that if there's science-backed information, then sure, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Let's all team up and make sure that moose populations don't decline any further. So I think there is actually declines in these areas. There's no dispute of that. But wildfire, in this instance, isn't the cause of decline.
That's not what the science says. But also, they have steadily reduced the amount of LEH tags, like by 60%. I think, like, there's been massive reduction. So it's not like they're doing nothing. It's just, I don't know. I just, like, wouldn't it be nice if everyone could ultimately trust in the science and kind of reduce that partisan feel to it? And I think that's ultimately what everyone needs to do, but it's kind of hard to get there because like some people don't trust the science, and like who created it, and it
creates tension between these two groups.
If it's truly science and it's fact. So
like you said, if we can all come together as one group, this has sort of been the theme of all the conservation podcasts we've done, is that by becoming one, we can accomplish a lot of stuff. If we're dividing off into separate teams and arguing with each other, then we're not really making any progress.
And if we're all working off the same facts, and I mean, if the fact came out that yes, also in this area, they're dealing with XYZ and it's a contributing factor, and the ministry is also going to expand the ban, then all the hunters would, well, I guess that is what it is too then. Like, it's unfortunate that, the moose are having these challenges, and the government made a call based on the science. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. So I think that's the way it should be done. It's just not happening that way.
So what impact does this have on us? Nothing really, I guess. No impact. There is potential for First Nations to put up roadblocks. It's been done in the past. I don't think it's going to be a problem. And if it comes up, then we'll see what happens. Right?
Ultimately, try to talk to them about it.
I would love the opportunity to talk about it, as long as we could talk about it. You know what I mean? So I think we're going up there for the right reasons, right? And, if we went up there and there was no moose anywhere, and we saw one small bull, then we'd probably think, you know what? Yeah, maybe there is a problem up here. We probably shouldn't take this. But if there's moose all over the place and we're seeing sign like crazy, well, then maybe there isn't a problem. It's hard to speculate until you get boots on the ground and you're actually in the area, right?
Yeah.
So,
and then even then, it's more observation than the full story, but it does kind of give you a bit of a barometer in terms of, one way or the other.
Yeah. So to be continued until we get up there, but that's what's going on. And yes, our hunt will continue on as planned, as for those of you guys that are asking. So makes for an interesting topic though, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and overall, I'm just, I'm happy with the response that the BC Wildlife Federation put out and the ministry put out. I think it's a good message. It's not about, alienating anyone. It's about trying to have a systematic approach to wildlife management.
Yeah, I would agree. So we got out last week and sighted in our rifles.
Yeah.
Which is fun and frustrating for me.
I don't know what was going on, man.
Well, I
think you had some funky bullets there.
Yeah.
Some old ones from your dad there.
Yeah, there's some old, what kind were those? What did I have in there?
Like some Winchesters
or
something.
Some Winchesters, they're 165s, which is what I shoot. And I actually had to order more ammo. They didn't have any in stock anywhere in Kelowna. That's the issue with only having a couple of small hunting stores. But so anyways, the stuff that I shoot regularly, I only had like 6 bullets left. So I thought, well, whatever, I'll use these Winchester ones. They're the same weight. So maybe they should shoot, somewhere in the neighborhood. So I'll get it, take some shots, get it kind of dialed, and then throw in a couple of what I normally shoot to see how it's, what the difference is.
Mm-hmm.
So I threw these Winchester ones in, and Jesus Christ, they were all over the map.
Yeah, it was crazy. You were like, we were trying to turn dials, and we're at first you were shooting off the table, which in some situations is great. In other ones, it's amazing how much wobble you get.
It's wobbly, man. Yeah,
but even like, it's the amount of muscle. It's the amount of muscle involvement that you need to hold that rifle. You should have like little to no muscle involvement.
Yeah.
And when you have your gun on an unstable form like that, it's not good.
Yeah.
And it's hard to establish a pattern too, because is the pattern related to you?
Yeah.
Or is it actually the ammo or the bullet or the rifle, right?
Yeah.
Because at one point I was thinking, oh man, like I think your rings are out of whack.
Yeah.
Like the scope is you might need a new scope.
Yeah. That's what I was starting to think too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I moved it to the ground and was shooting prone, and I was starting to get pissed off, and I think you could tell.
Mm-hmm.
And I was starting to doubt myself. I'm like, is it me? Is it like, am I just shooting like shit? Is it my scope? Is it the ammo? So you're like, hey, take a shot with mine and see what happens. Boom, right in the bullseye. So
I used to have mine sighted for 200, but I switched it to 100.
Yeah.
And you took a shot with that, and it literally split like the intersection of the Y and the X, like dead on.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, it's not Mike.
No. So that made me feel good, man. Cause I was like, these shots, they feel good, but maybe I'm just, flinching a little bit, or I don't know what the hell's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured, okay, it's not me. We ruled that out of the equation. It's troubleshooting, right? You actually had a box of ammo that I normally use. So I threw some of those in there, and we got things figured out. Let's put it that way. I had to make a few little adjustments because I had made some changes for the Winchester ammo. I had to kind of get it back. And by the end of it, it was shooting where I wanted it. And I had it sighted for 200. I might go out again once I get this new box of ammo and sight it for 100 instead of 200. But it was shooting where it should have been by the time we left. But man, that was box of ammo and a couple of swear words, that's for sure.
Yeah. And once it starts going down that road, I think it's just a reminder to folks to, I don't know, I mean, you almost need to take a breather and kind of reevaluate, what is going on.
Yeah.
And hit the reset button and try to find a different way maybe to establish the pattern. Because if you start changing positions or ways you shoot, then you're starting from scratch again.
Yeah.
Like Every little thing you change, right?
Yeah, and you were in that situation with your rifle when you first got it too, man.
Yeah.
That thing was...
I had a hard time understanding the MOA concept,
right?
Which, for rookies out there, if you put like a cone on the end of your rifle and it, the fat side's facing out, if you're at 100 yards, that cone, it just keeps projecting out and out and out, right?
Yep.
So let's say it's like the size of your hand at 100 yards, that ring.
Mm-hmm.
At 200 yards, it's going to be like double that, right?
Yeah.
Like the potential for the bullet to just keep straying off angle becomes greater and greater and greater the more time it has in the air. Yeah. So that's minute of angle. Ultimately, you want a very small minute MOA for accuracy.
Yeah.
But the clicks on the rifle scope are associated with that, like quarter MOA per click.
Yep.
So at 100 yards, one click is a quarter of an inch. So I remember I was shooting at like 50 yards because this is a brand new rifle. I just want to make sure I would hit the paper.
Yeah.
And it was like way off. I don't know who laser sighted the thing in the store, but then I'm like, okay, well, how many clicks am I doing? I'm doing like 16 clicks one way. I'm going 16 the other way. Like I just got so confused and frustrated.
Yeah.
Once you kind of get it dialed down to the point where you're at 100 yards and you know that, 4 clicks is an inch in either direction, then it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But it was painful setting that thing up the first time.
Yeah.
And also having no experience with it.
Yeah.
And shooting in a t-shirt and, my shoulder got wrecked that day.
Yeah. Good times. That's like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Now it's just a matter of going
bang
out
on.
and you just one shot and okay, good.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you can start buying the pricey ammo because it's going to last you like one box can last you like a year or two.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easily.
So not to say you shouldn't practice, but you can kind of get some Barnes or some, we're using Nosler Accubons.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you bought too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are great.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't waste a box of those.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to head to sighting in?
No, I mean, I think it would be great to have a range pass and you can really dial it in and put your gun in a sled and take that factor right out of the equation. Like the gun is dead on, but it's fun to practice a real life situation, shooting off your pack too, right? So
yeah, I said this while we were out there. I'm like, man, fuck, it would be nice to have access to a range, but I don't think we really want to use it once. You know,
you just want to make sure your guns,
to have a proper place to sight in, make sure everything's good, and then you can take it from there. But it's so expensive to get a membership for a year and only go up there once or twice. It's not really worth it. So
if I hand loaded, I would get a range pass 100%.
Right.
Because then I'd be going out all the time, like tweaking hand loads, and then every time you go out there, you're comparing, and it becomes more of a hobby at that point.
Yeah,
just shooting, period. But not really there. It's another black hole, I feel like, of costs and
there's only so much time in the day, man. Yeah.
I would love to. It's just, we've talked about it before. It's just, and we shoot the same caliber, so technically we could split a hand loading kit and try to dial it in.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe that's something we can look at in the future. It'd be kind of cool to track that progress too, and from a lessons perspective.
Yeah, for sure. What's up next week, Cal?
Gonna go for a couple days, a couple nights, look for mule deer, elk, and or whitetail.
Yeah.
Probably I would say mule deer, but I'm also gonna bring the elk calls and let a couple go and just see what happens. Like if we get an answer in the morning, then it's an elk hunt now.
It is. Yeah.
And if we don't, then whatever. We'll hunt mule deer, and if we see an elk, then we'll see what happens. But that's what happened with the elk hunt a couple years ago, right? We started as an elk hunt / goat hunt.
It was a goat hunt.
It started as a goat hunt. We got hit super high. There's a video on Instagram. We just got slammed with early winter.
That was awesome.
We changed it to an elk hunt, like kind of on the snow line. Spent 4 or 5 days doing that with no success or sign whatsoever. And then we switched it to a deer hunt.
Yeah, we were seeing lots of mule deer tracks up on the mountainside and lots of whitetail down below. So
yeah. And then with the day of, we saw mule deer tracks
those
everywhere.
are big ones too, man.
We all split up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, an hour later, there's a huge elk down. So sometimes you don't know what the hell's going to happen.
If you haven't heard that story, you can go back to we recorded from the
episode 20,
something like that. Yeah. Some exciting moments that throughout that day. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to about getting into the bush for a few days?
Getting into the bush for a few days.
Yeah,
like I haven't really taken any vacation this year other than a week in February.
Right.
So it's just been nonstop. So just to get some time and hit the reset button, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Nice.
Not think about work for a week and
yeah.
And obviously I haven't been out this year yet, so just super pumped to get out there. It's like fishing, you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
At the very least, it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Fire ban's still on, eh?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. No fire.
We can double check, but
it'd be nice if we could have a fire, but
I'm going to say 99%. It's probably still on.
Yeah. I'd say so for sure.
Yeah. The firefighters just went home like a week ago, not even.
Yeah. Probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to have a fire. That's all I'm saying.
It would be nice, yeah. It's not the same without one, but I guess we'll have to make do.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lantern, like a
gas one? It's a little heavy.
Yeah, I guess.
What we need is
but like something with softer light. I've got a little UBO candle lantern.
Oh yeah.
That throws nice light.
Cool.
It's just a little thing. You can like put it in your pocket.
What was that one that Garrett had when we went up north last year? That thing was awesome. It just hooks onto your gas container.
Oh, I can't remember. I think it's like an MSR product or something.
I think so.
It's like a big filament that heats up.
That's awesome, man. I love that thing. Just a nice, warm light at the end of the day, and to get that thing going inside the teepee was awesome.
True. I totally forgot about that thing.
Yeah. Might have to look into that. I think it was sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what else? Just kind of see what happens while we're in there. Try out some gear. Make sure our kits are all set up for before we head up in October.
Yep. I'll probably pack more than I should just to make sure I try everything.
I was thinking about that, but then we have to pack something out if we get something in there. So maybe go down the middle somewhere as far as have enough room in your pack to pack something out.
The one thing I'm struggling with, because I want to try it, but I don't think I need it, is the down hoodie.
Yeah, we're not going to need that.
No.
That's going to take up half of your pack.
I do have a lightweight Kelvin that I might take because I can stuff that thing into a like beanie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the one thing. Like I want to take it just because I haven't used it outside. And even at night, man, like it can get chilly when you're sitting outside. But
trust me, you're not going to need it. You can bring it up north. It'll come in handy then. Probably still be too warm for that, huh? That thing's going to be like a furnace, man. But I hear you. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited, man. Hopefully we get some decent weather, but I think we're equipped for whatever gets thrown at us. So it should be fun. We'll do some podcasting from the tent, I'm sure. I'll bring in the recorder and we'll get some stuff.
Cool.
Hopefully we get a repeat of the bear hunt and we get some action too.
Oh yeah.
Which would be fun.
Yep. Yeah. More to come.
Yep. Bear. What's happening with the bear? Another question we keep getting.
Yeah. So the bear meat, we kept some of it for stews and some other
whatever
other ideas.
It's almost stew season. So we thought, okay, let's grab a little chunk of that and set it aside.
Yeah. And we brought some into the local shop here to get processed. So I think we got another week and another week
or so.
Another week, yeah.
Week and a half.
And then we'll have that. So that's sweet. And the bear hide, which I have in my freezer unsalted.
Yep.
Not supposed to salt it if you put it in the freezer for later date. That is going to go to a place in Vernon, actually. It's not a taxidermist. It's a fur dressers.
Nice.
So I called them and they accept raw frozen hides.
Cool.
which you want to check with those kind of places first because they're not a taxidermist, so they may not.
Yeah.
But they were all good with it, and it's actually quite a bit cheaper.
Cool.
Like I was, being quoted around $400 just for the tanning, and I think it'll be, $100 off that.
Nice.
Maybe even more.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to do kind of a sheepskin type blanket.
Yeah.
So taking the paws off, taking the head off, and then something I can throw over the downstairs couch.
Yeah, the thing's got a beautiful coat on it, man.
Oh, for sure.
It's gonna look pretty cool.
And it's got like the fur on it was like 3 inches.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. And then I'm gonna take the head back, and I'm gonna do a Euro skull with that.
Yeah.
Whether or not we do it ourselves or not is kind of a question.
We got to figure that out because I thought that'd be a fun episode to do. And you did my mule deer, which looks awesome. You did a wicked job on that thing. But it's a matter of finding a spot to blow the brains out of it with a...
Yeah, that's the challenge. Like I powered through the last one because I had already started it. I'm like, well, I tried to do my best, like tarps everywhere and Tupperware or like Rubbermaid bins and all that.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of like blowing all that stuff all over the backyard, especially when there's dogs and stuff around.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't know if folks have input there on like, where do you do this stuff? Like, I'm sure a lot of people have farms or they have like, big backyards or who knows.
I've heard guys say just go to the car wash, but
yeah, I've heard that too. There's a lot of video cameras in those spots.
Yeah, I mean, we got to find a shitty one. Where
I'm in the suburbs. It's just weird to like,
be spraying brains all over your driveway. But yeah, if you guys have any thoughts on where we could do that or how we could better contain it so that we can do it, let us know. Because after that, it's not such a big deal, right?
No, like
sit around, have a few beers and boil it. And
you skin out the head, take out the eyes, and then you're basically throwing it into a pot, boiling everything.
Yeah.
And then, from there, you're pressure washing everything, maybe boiling some more, pressure washing, you just keep repeating that.
Yeah.
And then you kind of put in a mixture of the peroxide. I can't remember exactly what I used last time, but you put that in the water, or you can actually get a cream, and you can just put cream on it and let it sit. Either way, it's the same chemical, and then it just goes white and you're good.
Nice.
It's pretty easy. It's just a matter of dealing with the mess.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll figure that out. Hopefully we can find a way to do it.
Yeah. So I think, the bear, everything's been used. The only thing that won't be used is the paws, which I'm not sure what we could do there. I mean, I didn't want a bear rug. Maybe down the road.
Right.
If it's, the right bear, then I'm not opposed to it, but
save the claws or something. At least they're pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else you could do with it though.
Yeah. But everything else, it's being used.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's cool.
For sure. It took us a little while to kind of get all the elements together, but I think now is the right time to be using it. It just seems like the right time of year to eat that type of thing. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Definitely.
So maybe next week we'll let you know how it tastes, but maybe it'll be the week after that. So
yep. And then by then we'll have some actual hunting stories. So
yes, we will for sure. Well,
until then,
cheers, water for the next, what are we at now? Still another month here?
For what, the moose?
No, being dry.
Oh,
so cheers with some
sober
water.
September. Yeah.
Sober September into October.
Yeah.
How's it been, by the way, before we wrap it up?
It's good when you're busy.
Yeah.
Like I haven't really had a chance to socialize or do a lot of stuff the last couple of weeks. So
I went to a barbecue. I don't think I've ever gone to a barbecue without beer.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever taken a break from beer since I was 14 years old, Kelly.
I actually, I had to go to a barbecue and we weren't really sure.
Right.
If this was before the Sober September,
oh, okay.
It was just a situation where like, there's a lot of kids there and
right.
Nobody was sure if we should bring beer or anything. And I was kind of like,
oh, you definitely should.
Oh yeah, exactly. But it kind of, it became a little bit awkward. And then I was like pretty disappointed before we even left that I couldn't bring beer. I'm like, it's a barbecue. How do you not bring beer?
Yeah.
But I see what you mean. Like,
yeah, I was drinking La Croix, I think it's called. It's like sparkling flavored water. It's pretty awesome.
Nice.
No, it wasn't.
I haven't drank any coffee either. I've been drinking nothing but tea and water.
You know what? I almost failed the challenge by accident. I was at the grocery store and they were demoing some wine. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I'll give that a try. And then I was walking over there and like hand out like, oh, wait, I can't. The lady looked at me kind of weird, but like.
I had a taste of wine.
Jesus, Kelly.
But it wasn't a glass. It was, I had to cook the meal de ragout. And I only had one bottle of wine downstairs. And I needed red wine.
Yeah.
So it's a bottle that I'd never heard of, and I was actually very suspicious of the quality.
Oh, okay.
And it turned out to be right. I used it anyways, but they say not to cook with wine you wouldn't drink.
Right.
But I did taste a little out of the bottle. It was horrible wine.
Oh,
man.
was it? Did you swallow it?
Yeah.
Oh, I think Kelly's eating a testicle.
But
I'm sick, Kelly, and I was going to make a hot toddy last night, and I didn't make one.
Oh, that's different though. That's like actually you're putting a drink in a cup.
Yeah, I know.
I can't.
But I have an excuse. I'm sick. I was trying to clear out my nasal passages. You're just sampling wine down in the basement, hiding out down there.
No, I'm sampling it like pre-pour into the pot. It's more of a cooking, Well,
we need some stricter rules next time here. There's no sampling allowed.
No sample for cooking purposes.
Anyways, we'll be back next week with some in the field audio.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Peace. This episode of Rookie Hunter was also brought to you by North Arm Knives. North Arm Knives are handcrafted and sold directly through a father and son team right here in British Columbia. Choose from a selection of outdoor knives, kitchen knives, and custom engravings from northarmknives.com. They ship internationally and guarantee all of their work. Kelly and I have put their products to the ultimate test and give them our stamp of approval. Head over to northarmknives.com.